Hello everyone, I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com and today we're going to talk about Summer in Mara, and I'm going to be honest, I'm really torn about this one. I love elements of it and there are other bits I'm not so sure about. There's some really beautiful sound design and art. I mean, check this out. Really beautiful score in this game. I'm a huge sucker for this art style. I really like it. It harkens back to some of my favourite films. I've mentioned before that I like the Ghibli kind of films, and this is really on par with that. So there's some lovely animation later on as well, but just the art and the sound design is wonderful, and the game itself is very wholesome. The whole premise really is that you're a child that's found by Yaya, and then she teaches you how to look after yourself, how to keep a farm, how to look after animals, how to basically get all of the resources you need, how to cook and craft. And it's really wholesome and really sweet. And the whole time this was happening, this is like the tutorial at the start of the game, the whole time this was happening I was thinking, wow, this is idyllic. When is she going to die? And that sounds awful, but you do kind of think that way, just, oh wow, it's beautiful. But, you know, like, you're kind of set up to assume that nice characters just die at some point. And that's a shame, but the game itself is really fun. I really enjoyed what I played of it. The tutorial really gets you into it and you start feeling really positive about it, but that's where I'm sort of torn. The basic premise is looking after yourself, but there's also this whole thing of going to islands and making sure you've got certain items for requests. They're basically sort of long fetch quests really. You're told to make a certain item, or you need to make a certain thing to advance. Maybe it's an item for food or something like that. And later on, as you can see Yaya doing here, you end up going off to like the city. And it's nice, but at the same time there are elements I'm not 100% into. I mean, I'll be fully honest, I haven't actually got any footage of that part of the game for the major reason that one of the issues that I'll mention later came up, and it's a problem. I had to sort of go away and watch other bits to actually look into the future of the game, like the next stages. But basically, later on in the game, you're then sort of looking after yourself, and you go away, you trade items, those kind of things. But there are just gameplay elements that aren't really polished that nicely at the moment. And it's a shame, because then there are moments like this that are just absolutely fantastic, and they really capture this beautiful spirit of something really special, but it's not quite there yet. It's so wonderful as a premise, and there's so many lovely bits, but it needs polishing. For example, you can't check your inventory when you're away from the island. Like, you can't check recipes, I should say. So you have to kind of go back to your island, look up the recipe, go away to the city, see what they need, then go back again, pick up the items or make the items, then go back again. Like, there's a lot of problems there. Or like, for example, at one point I know one person was talking about the ship glitching out, and I had a similar issue. One of the things I had was that a couple of items on the island are kind of needed to move forward with the story. So I've got, like, you saw me earlier getting water from the well, and I've actually captured the moment it happens. But when I was capturing water from the well at one point, one of the wells didn't appear, so I was only down to one. And because I had an item equipped at the time when I went to get the water, my character broke the well, and I couldn't get water anymore. There was no way, as far as I could tell, to get water. And the problem with the game is that there's only one save, really. It basically saves in one place. You have no option to sort of start a new game. You have no option to get rid of that save, apart from going into the Steam files and kind of getting rid of the save. And because we're at an early point, I couldn't really tell where they were keeping it, so I couldn't reset the game, which meant I was stuck in this kind of game over phase where I couldn't do anything. Basically, once the well was gone, that was it. I couldn't make anything else, I couldn't water the crops, I couldn't advance the story. So that's a shame. It's little things like that they're really easy to overlook, and I understand why they could be. But here was the stupid moment I did it, and I'm sure the developers didn't count on anyone with my ineptitude doing that. But it was a shame, because it means that I'm now kind of stuck, and I can kind of troubleshoot it, but there's that element of if you were someone who just got this for the relaxed, casual nature of it, and you didn't know how, or you don't know how, or like with myself at the moment, I'm not 100%, it means that you just end up kind of stuck. You can't do anything, you can't sort of water any of these items or fix anything, so you can't really go anywhere. And this seems to be a problem for other people too. I know that a couple of people have had problems where their boat hasn't been able to sort of shift screens, so they couldn't visit cities or islands, and that's meant sort of quitting and restarting. And it's one of those games where I was so conflicted as where to put this. because I wasn't sure, but I'd say it's one to watch. With a few patches, a few fixes, it could be a really interesting game, so keep an eye on it. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hopefully I'll catch you again very soon.